Hello and welcome to Back of the Net, especially you beautiful people that are listening via the audio pod. It's episode 181, and in this week's show, it's a chance to take a second look at the weekend's game versus Nottingham Forest. We've got Tom Jordan with me. Tom, how are you, sir? You all right?
I'm okay. We did a goal, so I'm all right.
And also, special guest, Ollie May. Ollie, how's it going, sir? You all right?
Yeah, not too bad. Good to be here.
And Ollie's got his own AFC Bournemouth and General Football YouTube channel. Check it out. Link is in the description. Loads of stuff, including, I don't know how you do it, Ollie, but on your vlog, you got more information in about a quarter of the amount of time that it took for us to do our vlog. Ours was about 20 minutes. Yours was 5, but yours was jam-packed with content and loads of stuff. It was an interesting game to cover, wasn't it?
Well, there was a lot going on. And yeah, a lot in a small space of time. The average view duration was about 20%, so yeah. I think too much for a vlog, but there we go.
There's a man who knows his YouTube analytics. And Forest fans, stay tuned whether you're listening or you're watching, because I suspect we're going to talk about you and your club and what we think your chances are of staying up. Look, right, we're going to go round. Tom isn't dressed for the occasion. He's just gone casual. Ollie's gone for a proper retro look, right? And look, if you're watching on YouTube, I've got a shirt here. I'm going to do a close-up. Can you tell me the club and when we played this particular team? You'll see that shirt sponsor is Bimbo. Nothing to do with me whatsoever. However, let me know what you think. So, we've got a point on the board as Gary O'Neill being permanent manager, and it was the story of 2 academy graduates at the weekend. One of them put us in the lead with a really well-taken goal in the first half, but then heartbreak late on from another who slid in to secure Forest a point. Now, before we get going, we're filming this at the Basement Studio. It's located in the centre of Bournemouth. They cater to musicians, producers, voice actors and podcasters looking for a professional environment to record, mix and master. Their studio, where we're at now, it offers a spacious live room with a separate vocal booth and a comfortable mixing room. Producer Tom, he's here in the background, and no doubt you'll get to know him over the coming weeks and months. And our presenter, Tom, is here, and we talked about getting you in one of these booths for either a song or a rap. We could make that happen, mate.
If we stay up, I'll do whatever you want. Yeah, whatever you want. If we stay up, whatever you want. Let us know in the description, in the comments, what tunes you want.
Yeah.
What tunes you want me to sing?
It's got to be a Chris Manning Never Give Up, the AFC Bournemouth song, right? We've got to do it. The studio also plays host to the Wanna Be a Star party experience, which is perfect for kids' birthdays, adult birthdays and hen do's. wannabeastar.co.uk then. So, the weekend. Let's talk about it. It's a point on the board. It's a much improved performance, Tom. However, the inevitable frustration at the end of it.
Yeah, it was improved. I do think it was quite easy to have an improvement of what we've seen. Let's be real. But there were improvements, and obviously, you know, we took the lead and things, and we ain't been scoring goals, so that was good, and we nearly got over the line. But yeah, for me, it was still really disappointing, because I think you also look at the fixtures, you look at the opposition. They'd scored 2 goals away from home before that game. We got to win that. We've got to win that game. We've got to be better at winning the game. I think, you know, credit to him, but you know, to try and get a goal, they're bringing on Sam Surridge. That's his first ever Premier League goal. They haven't, you know what I mean? They didn't. I never felt like they were, you know, going. It looked like it was just inevitable. We were quite comfortable, and yeah, we've got to be winning that game, mate. And yeah, it was a big blow, but as you say, there were improvements, to be fair.
What's quite mad is that whilst it felt improved, that was the most amount of shots that Forest have registered in any game this season in the Premier League, 20, which says it all really. But it was an improved performance, one at Ollie, and the crowd, they had something to cheer about for once, because we put on a really good attacking display at times, I thought.
Well, it was a lot more promising than what we've seen, and like you say, I think that was the difference between the crowd and, say, crowds before in previous games, that we actually had something to believe in.
Yeah.
You know, maybe the full-time result, you know, some people will argue that we deserve more, some people will say, well, we sort of gave the second half away, but the way that we attacked the game and actually attacked the opposition gave people hope. And I think that's what we needed, really, more than anything, was a little bit of desire. Not just to say, look, we are defending for our lives, we are trying to stay in this league, but actually we're going to oppose ourselves, we'll actually put ourselves into this league and attack teams, which you've got to do at home especially.
But I mean, the 20 shots that Forest had, they didn't overly test Neto, really, whereas we had some gilt-edged chances throughout that game. I'm thinking Kiefer Moore's header in the first half, Ryan Christie's header, Atara had a couple of shots in the second half that he possibly should have done better with. Overall, it is a lot better, but we're saying the same things every week. We need to take points off the teams in and around us, and we're not doing that. A point against Forest is not good enough, really.
No, it probably isn't in the grand scheme of things. But as you said, we did have the better chances in the game, and I mean, I would never say that a Christie chance is a good chance. To be honest, as much as he was better. But the concern for me was really, even though they didn't have loads of gilt-edged chances, you watch it back and watch the highlights. Every corner is still scary. We scrapped a few away, didn't we? And there was a bit of melee, but we never looked great from set pieces. And just going forward, I think if we can nullify teams with a lot more quality than us, that's one thing. But then they're going to have chances from set pieces as well. And obviously they did score one that was just offside, which was fortunate. And I think that gave us a bit of a lift as well. That's the way VAR can work now, is it almost feels like you've got a goal when you get a VAR decision, especially us that don't get many. It's just, I think in general, mate, it is, like we said, it was improved. I do think, put it into context, it was quite easy to improve. I don't think we should get carried away. Forest are a decent side, obviously we'll come on to it, look like they're in a decent position to stay up, certainly better than ourselves, but they haven't been good away from home this season at all. And yes, there were marginal improvements, but I think time we got promoted before, for example, from the Championship, if we had performed like that, we'd have said it was disappointing. I think it's just because of how bad we've been, we felt, this was better, and it was. But I mean, was it that good? Did their keeper make that many saves? Again, did we really, like you said, we had some chances, but did we test the goalkeeper enough? Not for me. At home, to a team, like I say, not doing well away from home, did we do enough to win that game? Not for me.
So looking at the table then, we are below the dotted line, Ollie, and we're trying to attract players during a transfer window now with a manager that's fairly under fire, with a disgruntled fan base. How are we going to attract players? I mean, you say that, and Dan Juma's on the verge of joining Everton, who are in similar positions.
I was going to say, you look at our position, you think, I couldn't get any worse than that. Welcome Everton. I mean, that's the thing. We're trying to, like you say, look, we're going to do all these incredible. We've got this amazing new owner. It's going to be like Las Vegas style entertainment. We're going to be flying. We're going to get Europe and all this, and you just think, hold on a minute, we've got, like you say, a manager that who knows if he's going to be here for another month, another game, another year. We don't know at the end of the day. At the moment, where things are going to turn. One win in I can't remember how many games now, but unavailable to get 3 points in 5 games. Yeah. It's not something that players are going to want to join. So it's one of those that you think, over time, maybe you're going to look back and go, was it a proposition that players and younger players especially are going to want to build into? Yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, let's go into the nuts and bolts of the game. And look, we've also got a load of your questions as well that you've submitted on Twitter. Thank you so much. We've had so much feedback, so we're going to be going through them later on. So we won't talk about the match too much. However, we do just want to talk about the team that took to the pitch, Tom. And it was a 4-3-2-1 by the looks of it. We were thinking 4-3-3, but it was a changed central defensive partnership, and that was the first thing that really surprised me, actually.
Yeah, it did surprise me. I think the Stevens one in particular, because Meckham's been arguably our best player of the season, so that was a surprise. Don't know what the particular reason for it was, but Stevens hadn't done himself any harm. I thought he was pretty solid. I think what we saw in the game was Lloyd Kelly being the left centre half did allow Jay-Z to bomb on, because Lloyd's got that pace to be able to cover that left side, whereas Senesi maybe can't do that as well. So that did suit. I was actually more surprised that Pearson wasn't playing without Lewis Cook, and putting Rothwell in surprised me. I thought we'd done well though, as I'm sure we'll come on to. And then Ryan Christie more centrally. That's what I mean. We didn't know if maybe Ouattara would join Kiefer Moore kind of maybe go 4-4-2, but Christie was inside and Ouattara out wide. And what it did, I think I said on the fan cams after, what it gave you with Christie not being one of the wingers was you had 2 wide men who were going to run at their fullback and get us up the pitch a little bit better, which we've missed with no Tavernier. And obviously Siriki can't get in the team. Well, I don't really know why. But yeah, it was a surprise, but I didn't look at the team and think it was horrific. I did think, oh, that's a bit of a surprise. But I think you can't question that the team selection was awful or anything, because as we've said, there were slight improvements.
First time it seems, Ollie, that we've played with a bit of balance in terms of having 2 players on either flank that are very attack minded, and that sometimes we play with Anthony on the left side and then Christie on the right, who's not a man to take on a player. He's sort of more of your Matt Ritchie or whatever, but nice to have that on the right hand side, and it's fair to say that he had a pretty decent debut.
Oh, it was fantastic. I mean, I don't know how he jumped so high.
He's got a leap, hasn't he?
Jesus, I don't know how he done it. I'm just watching it and I'm thinking, what has this guy not got? He's got a left foot, he's got a right foot, he can win balls in the air, he was brilliant. And like you say, the balance on either side, I think actually gave him more of an opportunity. Not actually that we're going to force down his side because he's the only one that's actually going to take people on, but actually having Anthony, I think he had a fantastic game as well. And JC's probably his best game I've seen him play. Maybe back in the Championship he had a couple of good games, but
a Jay-Z and Anthony combination, who knew?
Exactly. It's funny because you almost say when a fullback's got a winger in his back pocket, it's usually a bad thing. Yeah. But when Jay-Z's got Anthony in his back pocket, he's going, go on, do something. You know? It's brilliant because you do think, we've got almost a foundation to build on. Yeah. And I mean, Kiefer could have had a couple in that game, and like you say, Christie not really ever been known for scoring goals, necessarily, but everything else going forward actually looked like it was working. Yeah. And we've mentioned how many times Siriki's could have been put in.
Yeah, I think as well. It's like you say, the combination of Jay-Z and Anthony was great. I haven't been overly critical in the sense that he hasn't always gone with Anthony and Jay-Z down that side, and I think I kind of alluded to it earlier. I think we found now that he's always been worried about Jay-Z defensively, which I appreciate. Yeah, I think what he hopefully has seen in that last game was that if Kelly's your left centre back, you can take a bit more of a gamble on that side because he has got the legs to cover round, which maybe Celeste didn't. So I think that was a real positive going forward, as I think we've seen. Hopefully Gary's now seen actually I can trust them 2 down the left, because I don't think he's overly been wanted to do that. We've played a lot of different ways, and he hasn't trusted Jay-Z a lot. He didn't even come on against Brentford, did he? No. He's tried Kelly at left back, so yeah, that was promising for sure. And as you say, Ouattara, I was really impressed. I mean, O'Neill kind of said afterwards, wasn't sure if how he'd get on, but it proved that he didn't take him off. I thought he's kind of gonna. When they scored and I saw Dembele, I thought, well, Ouattara's going to come off, and he took Christie off. So he obviously thought, actually, no, I can trust this guy already to continue out there. And I did like him. I did like him a lot. And for a debut, you didn't really know that. I think they were saying Siriki was kind of translating a lot of instructions to him, because I don't think we have anyone else that kind of speaks his language. But it was a positive debut, mate. And I actually kind of looked at it, I'm sure we'll get onto it, but I kind of looked at it and thought, could you play him through the middle? With Dom out and Kiefer having not one of his best games, I thought, because I wasn't sure how he would be in terms of, like you said, Ollie, aerially, bit of strength about him, I thought, could you go with like an Anthony, Ouattara, Dembele and play a bit more counter-attack with pace? And I think you probably could.
I think there's a few things about the lineup. I mean, having Neto, I think, is absolutely vital to us, and we have missed him massively. His distribution, I thought, was really good yesterday. There was, what really it sort of interests me. Whenever we play Forest, why do they switch ends?
I think it's Steve Cook.
Do you think it's Steve Cook's influence?
Yeah,
I think it is.
They've done it in the promotion game, didn't they?
Yeah.
And I always remember years ago when O'Driscoll went at Doncaster and they done it straight away. And I think it is just one of the things, because if you've got, I mean, it might be Sam Surridge as well, to be fair, but if you've got some sort of in there, it does tend to happen more. Be interested to see in our next home game against Newcastle if Eddie does obviously the same. But teams do tend to do that when they've got someone in there that knows that we always prefer to do it.
Well, I said that because there was a goal kick that Neto took, and I was thinking it's the first half because we were, but it wasn't. It was the second half because we were attacking the Ted Mac, and it was like a sort of Ramsdale-esque or Pickford-esque. It was a very low drive that found Kiefer Moore, and it was just that kind of distribution I thought was absolutely superb. And you know what? Throughout the team, confidence flowed, and we did create chances. Like you said, I think Anthony was really good, and we're talking about Ouattara. I keep on saying Ouattara, but when you think about it, "we" is spelled O-U-I in French, and that's "we." So Ouattara or Ouattara.
Not got a clue. Chris Temple pronounced it completely different.
Yeah, he did. So
anyone else pronounced it?
I don't know if it's Dango or Dongo either.
No, exactly.
I don't know if it's Dango or Dongo.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter when he's doing the things that he's doing. And I think it was Kiefer Moore that won the header. And like you say, he leapt and he was behind his marker, but then did him for pace. And he put the ball in first time. And Anthony's touch and finish, that is underrated. That is because he was running so fast, Ollie. He took a touch with his left just to cushion it, and then almost in one movement with his right foot put it on the opposite side of goal. What a goal that was. Really good.
It's really, like you say, it is a really underrated finish because it looks so simple.
It does look...
for those of you that play football, you realise that one touch with your left foot and then the strike with your right foot, or vice versa, is so difficult to do because you've got to have your balance completely right. I say this like I'm an ex-professional footballer, I'm not. But you know what I mean? It's,
You're pretty handy, to be fair, though.
Well, I'm not sure. I think if I took a shot like that, I'd be up in the ceiling somewhere, probably clearer around, as Atara did in the second half.
Yeah.
But the finish was it's like he scored sort of 15 goals already this season, that sort of finish. And it is one of them where you think, get it on target, but also if you can hit that, tiny little gap where the goalkeeper can't quite get down quick enough and sort of find that corner, it is almost unsavable. And like you said, the speed that he was running at, it was brilliant. And he had a couple before that where potentially Atara could have pulled it back and given him another chance. But I think Anthony cutting in front of Kiefer Moore, which he mentioned in his post-match interview, that was something that they were working on, is something potentially handy for us, and something that maybe whilst we haven't got these promised 4 or 5 new signings, potentially we've got something new that could cause teams a problem.
I think I was going to mention that the position Anthony's taken up there, he's playing wide left, and he's to make that run after, as you say, Kiefer Moore dropped off and Ouattara's got in. You need your player on the opposite side to get into the box, and I don't think we've done that enough.
It's too easy to hang back, isn't it? On your left flank and almost put the responsibility on the shoulders of someone else. But he took responsibility.
No, absolutely, and that was a really good run. I think Ouattara's going to give you that on the other side as well. That's key. I was saying the finish is class. I don't think Dom Solanke scores like that. No, do you know what I mean? And and he's normally our main goal threat. So we're really pleased with Jalen. I thought he was excellent. Can we just get them nailed down, please, Jay-Z?
Yeah, absolutely.
We talk about Lerma, but we need to nail them down because for the future as well. You know how much I love Jefferson Lerma, but if you offer me 2 of the 3, I want them to signed up.
So it was tit for tat in terms of chancing. I think Brennan Johnson had a low shot saved in the second half. It almost went slow motion, but Neto did really well to get down to that. Moore had a pivoting shot wide after Christie had a shot blocked. The keeper was diving but never even reached him, and then he managed to regain his composure. But as it was, Moore put it wide anyway. Dango had a couple of volleys that one of them cleared the Ted shed, as you said, and the other one over the bar. But you know what? It was good football to watch. But a tale of 2 managers now, midway through the second half. One of them doesn't really do anything, and one of them makes a host of changes. And Steve Cooper's changes on, 75 minutes?
Yeah.
Changed the game.
Yeah, they were proactive. We were probably a bit more reactive in terms of the changes. I think it is easy in hindsight when they score. If they don't score the goal, we don't talk about the changes.
I know
it is what it is. But I do think that we needed to press higher. Rothwell, I think it made sense taking him off. I thought he was brilliant, but he lost his legs. He hadn't played a lot of football. I just felt Sariki was there to get us up the pitch and stop it coming straight back all the time. Weirdly, I think if with Dom injured, I think if Jamal Lowe was still at the club, I think he would have come on for Kiefer because I think Kiefer was dead on his feet, but we had no one to bring on for him. yeah, they made good changes at the right time. They kind of had to be fair. But yeah, I just felt we were waiting, and I actually saw just before the goal, I don't know if you noticed that Mepham was about to come on.
Oh, okay.
So he was gonna invite him on even more, which worried me. I thought, if they hadn't scored that goal, he would have probably taken off Christie still, or Watara maybe, and he would have chucked on another centre half, which would have just invited the pressure even more, which concerns me. But I understood Rothwell for Pearson. I did get it. I just felt Siriki could have come on and just taken a little bit of pressure off us, get us up the pitch a little bit more. It was just. They weren't doing an awful lot, but it just felt like we were just waiting every attack after every attack and just hoping we could clear things. But I've got to be honest, I remember thinking at the time, what they do, they're bringing on Sam Surridge. I mean, what's he going to do? He's never scored a goal in the Premier League. That doesn't bother me too much, but there you go. Fair play to him.
What was going to happen when you thought that? As soon as you think...
right place, right time.
But it did feel as though when they made those changes, our mentality changed a little bit, and we sat back a little bit. And I don't know. I feel as though the goal really came out of nothing. Really, it was a Kiefer mistake. I think he was trying to just cushion it back to Ben Pearson. I think it was, but there was a bit of a miscommunication, and as a result, fell to Brennan Johnson. And I was thinking,
as Tom, as you were saying there, if that happens on the halfway line, it's not a problem.
Yeah, no, that's right.
If we are being a little bit more.
Yes,
but why was Kiefer back there?
Because we're so deep.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going deeper and deeper. So that's the problem. As Ollie just mentioned, if you're then 20 yards further up the pitch, which a person like Siriki does give you, then that doesn't happen in that position. But but as you said, I agree. It was 75. But when they done their changes, we done the Rothwell one, didn't we? And it did seem to, even though let's be honest, they had much more possession than us the whole of that second half. That change did kind of feel like they were up in the ante a little bit, and it didn't quite work.
Do you think Forest could be all right this season, Ollie? Because I thought they were fairly disciplined, and Steve Cooper's he's getting points where he needs to now, doesn't he? And they're thrown in the odd surprise with like Liverpool win, etc. So that they've got momentum, and they've got a squad that seems very together. Given the fact it was 23 signings and they're all effing shit. Like you said at their place, he seems to have gotten playing as a well-oiled unit now, and it looks like they're going to strengthen even further. So they're in a good position, really, aren't they?
They are, and to be fair, we mentioned the signings, but they had nothing coming up, and arguably it was. I mean, we weren't far off them in terms of we didn't have Premier League players, I feel, that were always going to sort of provide the whole way through the season. And now, obviously, Siriki's not had much of a chance. Jamal Lowe, not really involved. Now, obviously, he's not involved at all. But it's interesting because you bring in so many signings, and it could either go one or two ways. It could be a disaster and no one fits, and we see what I think it was Fulham, was it, a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
Where they brought in so many players and it just collapsed. Or, you keep at it, and they've only lost one in their last 6, now one in their last 7. That was a cup game, so it wasn't even a league game. And like you say, they are picking up points, and I think the word you use there, disciplined, it is what you need to be in the Premier League. You need to get to games with belief that, okay, they've got a better squad, it's one of the big 6, whatever, or okay, it's a difficult game. Bournemouth need points today. Whatever game it is, you've got to go in with belief, and I think he's sort of built into that squad now, Steve Cooper. That we go in and we give our game. Rather than worrying about them, focusing on them, we give our game. So I think they'll be okay.
I think they'll definitely be scrapping. I think what they've done really well is they start the season awful, and which shouldn't be a surprise with the amount of the turnover of players they had. But what they did is they went, who's available? Who can we get here? We've got the best coach we can have. Let's just wait for him to get it right with this group of players and know his way of playing, because he had to chop and change a lot at the start to see what the right formula was. But even in our game, we mentioned there that our left side was doing really well. Aurea was at right back struggling with Jayden, and they bought on Nico Williams for Aurea. They can change their right back for a right back that's just as good, quite comfortably, and then their goal comes from that side. So they've got good squad depth. I mean, we know that because I think Bournemouth fans all rate Steve Cook, and he can't, even with injuries at the back, he's struggling to get minutes. And they have got some talented players. I really rate Gibbs White. I think he's a really good player. I think he looks good for them. So they're going to be in it definitely, but they might just have enough potentially. They're certainly in a better position than we are anyway.
Sam Surridge getting a few boos, Ollie. I didn't hear much of it myself, but apparently there was a few emanating from the North Stand. I think most of it is not geared towards Sam, but his dad, after some questionable tweets a number of months ago where he criticised AFC Bournemouth and bigged up Nottingham Forest.
That's the way to put it. Questionable, yeah. I don't know really what he was thinking, to be honest. He's not going to help Sam out, because he's always going to eventually come back and play against Bournemouth at some point. But no, I mean, it is what it is. Some fans will boo him. To be honest, I just saw him come on and thought, oh Christ, please no, not him.
Yeah.
Not have everybody.
I don't think it was. I think a lot's been made of. I think probably because he scored. About. I mean, it wasn't like he got slaughtered, in my opinion.
No,
I mean,
no.
actually, when he warmed up in the first half, he actually got a few claps.
It was more pantomime.
It was
than anything.
pantomime. That's the way of putting it. And I think it was kind of like it was more aimed at his dad. That's the only way he can get his dad because he's removed his Twitter. But Sam come through the academy. I'm pleased to see him doing all right. I mean, not at the moment because we're in competition with Forest. But I always thought he'd be a handy player. Do I think he's going to be a lethal Premier League striker? Probably not.
No.
But he always comes on and works hard, and obviously fair play to him for getting a goal. But it never quite worked for us. He never quite happened for him. He'll probably say he could have done with some more minutes, but I think at the time, to be honest with you, I didn't think he was quite good enough when he come in. But yeah, I wasn't that bothered for him to be. It's always going to be hard for him because he's on the bench with Steve Cook, who's always going to get an amazing reception. So but I don't think. I think a lot's been made of these boos. I don't think he was slaughtered.
No.
To be honest with
Do you fancy a few factoids?
Not really.
So, as well as becoming just the second player from Burkina Faso to play in the Premier League after Bertrand Traoré, you were about to say it.
Traoré, because I heard it the other day.
Yeah, Ouattara became the first Bournemouth player to provide an assist on his Premier League debut. Also, Bournemouth recorded 10 plus shots in a Premier League match for just the 6th time this season, though they've been outshot by their opponents in how many of the 20 league games that we've played? Let's have a little competition. How many matches do you think the opposition have had more shots than us this season? We played 20.
It's got to be high. 17.
17, bang on the money.
Do you know
Ollie's a better fan than you. You're out next week.
Do you know the games, by the way, or not?
No, I don't.
I was trying to think. I reckon Southampton we probably outshot them, didn't we?
Yeah.
I can't remember,
I
actually.
mean, what about Everton at home? Surely?
Oh, yeah,
Surely.
forget about that one. The Everton at home. Maybe Forest away, actually.
Yeah,
but,
perhaps,
no, that's fair. But that's high, isn't it?
But the problem is, if you've got a relatively decent defence and the shots are coming from miles out, it's not a problem. But we seem to allow, and obviously from set pieces as well, when most of the shots are coming from your 6-yard areas, you think that's why we're conceding the goals that we are.
Yeah.
If you can kind of take it with a pinch of salt, them stats. If you're, say, a Burnley of old, that you're a brick wall at the back and you ain't going to concede many goals, so really you don't need to. Do you know what I mean? Because you ain't going to concede many. We always look like we're going to concede.
I'd love to know what it is for shots taken in terms of how many shots. Obviously, shot. I suppose it says it anyway. But I'd love to know how many shots we've taken in terms of every other club in the league overall. We must be.
We'll be bottom by a while.
Yeah.
By a while, I would have thought.
And what's also worrying is when you look at the on the baseline tracker from the other 14 who concentrate on everyone but the big six. We're on -7, we're bottom, and also on a league table as well. We're not doing too well as it is, and we are below the dotted line, as I said earlier, in the actual league table. And how are we going to attract players? What are we going to do? It sounds like, well, what's this Phil Bill rumour that I've seen floating about over the last 24 hours? Is there some journalist from Scandinavia suggesting that he wants out?
Yeah, it does see rumours. I think Daniel Davis at Dorset Live said there hasn't been an approach as far as the club are aware, but there's been a few murmurings of clubs around Europe looking at him. I don't know with Billin. I think if he were to leave, I think he's probably been a little bit underappreciated because his numbers are quite good for us. But what we'll say is, me and Ollie were talking off air about it, and after the Kelly boos against Burnley, he was the one that come out and disappointed, rightly so. And then against Brentford, he was the first down the tunnel. And then he's obviously injured after being in training for this game. So it doesn't seem like he's too happy. I totally get him supporting his teammate Lloyd Kelly.
Yeah.
Didn't really like that he walked down a tunnel, but it is what it is. He doesn't seem someone that's... This is just my opinion, I don't know anything. He doesn't seem like someone that's overly enjoying himself at the moment. And I do think... Do I think we could replace Billin's goals and numbers now? No, I don't, so I don't want him to go. Do I think he's the best player to have in a relegation scrap? Probably not. I mean, Huddersfield would probably agree. I think this is his 4th Premier League season. He could have 3 relegations quite comfortably. So it's not someone that I'd be absolutely devastated, but equally I think he's been a decent player for us. I don't know what you think, Ollie. I just think when you're in this... Put it this way, if you look at it black and white, as much as I thought Christie done well in his kind of role at the weekend, who's going to get you more numbers? Phil Billing. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But would I be devastated to lose Phil Billing in a relegation scrap? I don't think I would. If we got a decent fee for him.
Yeah, as you say, just the fee, what we get. If we're letting players go for nothing, and obviously JT and Anthony, we don't.
Yeah, because he's got a year he's got a year left.
Yeah, and he's still relatively young.
Yeah, so we'd get something.
Yeah, and it's Valencia that apparently they're linked with, and maybe that could be a decent chunk of money that you can invest elsewhere. A lot of people say he's lazy or he's not as invested as other players. I think he is. I really do think. I think he's invested. Obviously, not lazy is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I think he does care. I think his style of play, as you say, is. He's very elegant on the ball, but he really does care about providing his teammates chances, getting results. But like you say, he is not the sort of player that will, be all over the place. For example, the Gustavo Scarpa, I think his name is, that came on for Forest at the weekend. He's in a relegation battle, so are Forest. I think, like I say, I think they'll be okay. But it was a bit like he came on and was everywhere. Is Billing that sort of player? I don't know. As long as you get a decent chunk of money for him.
I think it depends on when the club's at with someone like Billing as well, because I think it's lazy to just call him lazy. Because I know for a fact, if you looked at the numbers, he isn't lazy. He covers a fair amount of ground. He makes a lot of interceptions. He's not lazy. I think sometimes his style doesn't help him. I think Pittman got that a lot as well.
Whereas Christie, you would say, is one of the most unlaziest players because he works so hard, yet his end product is not as good as Phil Bill's.
But I think it does depend. I mean, the comparison I'm going to make here are not in terms of footballing ability, but what I'm saying is with these sort of players, it kind of depends how you function as a team. So Arsenal, when they were in a really bad place, Mesut Ozil was awful, getting a lot of criticism because you can't have a player like that when you're not functioning. If you put him in the Arsenal team now, I bet he'd look like a superstar because of the way everyone else is functioning. Yeah. So I think last season, the Championship, when we were having a few really good performances playing well, Billing looked absolute superstar. You thought he was too good for this level. But when you ain't getting much of the ball, you're not creating many chances, you kind of think we might as well just have Pearson in there trying to kick people. And I don't think that's all Billing's fault. Do I want him to go? Absolutely not. But as Ollie says, if I don't know, and if his head's not there, then you might as well let him go. So it's a difficult one. I think a positive was that I felt, if you can keep him fit, that Rothwell looked like I didn't think he would offer us anything from what I've seen, but after the weekend I think actually, could he give us something remainder of the season? Maybe he can.
So we asked for some questions, and we're going to probably reference a few things we've said before on this pod already. Layla says, something different. From reading the Twitter feed and the sudden rumour of Phil Bill leaving and a fallout within the team, apparently, if you guys, I'll put this to Ollie, if you guys were the manager, what positive team building exercise would you do to get the togetherness back? A little caveat, a pub crawl doesn't count.
Oh, I'm out then.
Well, I wouldn't be taking him to Dubai.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't. It's only that you just put the whole team together and not care about an end result because there's so much pressure at the moment on getting an end result. Yeah, just go down the pub.
We're all just going to say pub.
It's always the answer.
Potwell, Newcastle. Have a chat with Eddie.
Yeah, well, you know what? And that I was about to reference him, and I feel bad and sad for sometimes referencing his name too much. But God, we were so lucky with him. Crystal said the same thing. Do you think team morale is low? What do you need? What do you think we need to do to boost this? And under Eddie, I do notice that we did a lot of team building exercises, whether it's down the beach or having a walk, and there seemed to be a bit of togetherness. One thing that I really miss is seeing the behind the scenes footage in the dressing room. Do you remember? Of course they do all angle, but they also used to do behind the scenes. So when the players walking into the changing rooms, you saw a little bit of that.
It was like pitch walk, wasn't it? I used to like the pitch walk.
Yeah, pitch walk too, and I really like that. And I don't know, it just seems as though the fans need to feel connected to the players again a little bit, and there does seem to be that disconnect. And also when certain media pundits and commentators are saying that there's a lot of booing going on sometimes when I don't think there is, and also sticking up for the club sometimes when I feel as though they possibly shouldn't. I don't know, it just creates more of a divide because we're just getting more frustrated, and really all we can do is voice it on Twitter and social media, and then inside the ground when we're not doing good things. But so pub crawl for you?
I think so, yeah. I mean, like you said with Eddie there, whatever it was that was going really well or not very well with Eddie, and we did have some incredible times, obviously, and you look back at the incredible times, but also the difficult times. During the relegation season from the Premier League, there wasn't ever there was a lot of questions. Oh, should Eddie be still? Has the players given up on him, sort of thing? But Eddie did everything he could to get the players to believe. And that, you look at what he's doing now in Newcastle. After every game, there seems to be a picture.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes in football you need belief and just a togetherness. That,
I think that Eddie looked like he believed in his processes. I think we even had a real bad run under Eddie, like 4 in a row or something, 4 losses. But you sort of knew, like when Eddie spoke in his press conferences or his post-match interviews, he was always really assured, and you trusted him as a result. I don't quite get that feeling from O'Neill, but that's possibly a lack of experience.
And we could also, I think we can make a comparison with us and Forest here, who obviously were seeing the uptake in form. And I think what's happened is they went through a really sticky patch, but they knew they had a good coach. They knew. I mean, Cooper's proved it. He's a good coach. And after all them years in the Championship and the lower leagues, he come in and sorted them out. So all them players could hang off his every word and go, he's the man that will sort us out. We've got, no disrespect, we've got a manager that's never managed. So why are they going to just buy into what he's saying all the time as well? I think what could help the morale in general is getting a few good bodies through the door. I mean, Ouattara would have helped that with his performance, but you get a few players in that the rest of the squad think, oh, he's going to help. He's going to help us. That gives us a bit more. We just drew the last game, and now we've got a few more additions in. This could help. Tavernier coming back, that could give us a boost. I think things like that do help. I think you mentioned it earlier, I don't think it's any it's not a shock that we looked a little bit more solid when Neto's back in goal. No disrespect to Travers, but it feels like, we've got a Brazilian goalkeeper with a lot of experience to play for Barcelona in goal now. And it just, everything, it should lift you. So little bits like that can help. But I do think the problem is how are they going to trust a manager and a process that's never been in this situation ever?
Yeah,
and I'm not talking about relegation club. I'm talking about being a manager of a football club.
Well,
a Premier League football club.
The things he says doesn't sound convincing. I mean, in the post-match at the weekend, Dango or Ouattara was very very impressive. Ideally we wanted him to start on the bench, but with the players that we have with Tal and everyone else, we had to start him. It was like, well, do you want to start him then? did you want him to start or not? Because that's the sort of thing that, as fans, if he comes out and he says, he was straight into the lineup, he really impressed us in training the day before, we've got full belief in him and the players that are out at the moment, that once we get together we are going to get some results in, and we have got players coming through the door. It does give you an idea of, okay, yes, the results haven't been there, but we've got a building blocks. Whereas, we did want to put him on the bench, and then hopefully, in a couple of weeks we might have some new players through the door. It's like, well, will we?
The deflections were normally decisions, like at Brentford. It was all about a decision, even though, which was correct, it shouldn't have been a penalty, but we weren't good enough to win that football match.
No.
This time we got the VAR call, we couldn't do that, so it was injuries. Well, we had 2 centre-halves on the bench that are internationals, and one of them went to the World Cup. We haven't got as bad a squad as everyone says, in my opinion. I honestly don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, and he says injuries, but we had a completely changed centre-back, and they were available.
Yeah, we had 2 centre-halves available on the bench. We've got Siriki Dembele on the bench as well, who's a pretty decent footballer. We have got options. And against Brentford, like, for example, we lost that game. Jordan Zamora was an unused sub. He just got man of the match in the last game. Maybe you should have brought him on.
Maybe you should. So, Andrew asks, as it seems Foley is keeping O'Neill, would he be the right man to try and take us back up next season? It's so hard to tell, isn't it? It's hard to tell.
It is. It's one of them where ideally, you want to believe in what we've got now that he can keep us up. But going down, if you had the rebuild that Parker had when obviously we got promoted last season, you think, we've probably got enough, and with the parachute payments as well, and keeping the players we've got, I think pretty much any manager that's got, I say relative experience, obviously O'Neill we know hasn't got much experience, but anyone that really can do a decent enough job should be able to get that squad of players straight back up.
What players do you think we would lose? I mean, like Dom, Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff would be straight up.
Lloyd, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know who would be looking at him on the past month and a half and go, he could do a job, because he's not as young as he was. It sounds a bit obvious, but he's not as young as he was 3 or 4 years ago.
He's not as young as he was yesterday either.
That's exactly true.
Or even 5 minutes ago.
That's
But I think a lot of it will be obviously contract stuff as well with Jay-Z and Anthony, because if they haven't signed, they'll go. Dom's always one that you think a club that got promoted or a club that are maybe in the bottom half would look at him and think
that would be absolutely criminal if they go.
No, it'd be ridiculous, but hopefully that doesn't happen. Let's not think about that too.
No.
I think, but as Ollie said, I think whatever manager should have enough to get that group of players up. But in terms of is he the right man? Well, I don't know because he's never been a manager before.
In terms of the players that might go, we talked about Phil Bill, but I'm just going to ask you quickly, out of 10, in terms of 10 being the top level of being upset and not really fussed,
Yeah.
AFCB Matt asks, if Phil Bill did leave the club, how upset would you be out of 10?
6.
Oh, I took the words right out of my mouth. I was going for that. Yeah.
Yeah, 5, 6. Not too. I mean, it would be a loss because of the numbers. Specifically, you know what he gives with Dom in the side. You know, they work so well together. But yeah, I don't think if we lose Jeff, I think we're in trouble. You know, let's say this window where I mean there was a couple of people saying, "Oh, is that a goodbye clap?" a couple of weeks ago, and obviously at Brentford as well. If we lose Jeff, I'll be really worried. We lose either Jay-Z or Anthony now, which obviously doesn't look like it's going to happen, but there are rumours for Anthony as well, and a couple of German clubs that will worry me. But Phil, I mean, the numbers say yes.
Yeah,
My sort of head says, you know, with Joe being really good at the weekend as well, maybe it wouldn't be.
I think it would depend on the. I went 6 because I kind of thought I don't think Billing's going to be here that much longer. Whether we go down, stay up, whatever. I don't think Billing summer's going to be. But if we lost him this month, I would think, what does that say? We're letting a player that's played most of our games this season, and we're just letting him go in a January transfer window in the relegation zone. It would confuse me. And it would worry me, and that in a broader aspect. Billing's been a good player, though. Put it that way. I want to caveat that. Billing's been good for the club, but yeah, I think I'll go 6.
Nikki asks, okay, picture yourself. Do you remember the "You Are the Ref" in Shoot and Match? Oh, Shoot magazine's probably.
Yeah, I remember Shoot. No, I remember Shoot.
Yeah. So they always used to have a thing called "You Are the Ref," and they used to give you hypothetical scenarios. You are Gary O'Neill. What would your pitch be?
Got a similar experience.
What would your pitch be to prospective new team members? Go for it.
What, the new players? You mean like signings? Is that what you're saying? So how would I sell it to them?
Yeah.
You walk in a team because we're not very good.
You wouldn't say that though, would you?
No, you'd probably say we believe in you. We think you can help us. You get a lot of minutes. We're not in a good place, so if we were to stay up and achieve our goals, you're going to be bloody loved. And equally, if we go down, we're going to have a great chance to come back up. We've got new owners in, new investment. We're going in the right direction. So it's going to be difficult this season, but we want you long term for a longer project.
You'd be selling a dream, sort of like Foley has in terms of what fans are expecting.
Yeah, I'd be talking to him long term. I wouldn't be talking to him short term because there's not a lot to say about that at the moment. But yeah, I guess I just said it to him that way. I'd say we got quite a good looking bunch, so you do well on like nights out there. You got a group with you. Lerma's a nice guy. You can have a laugh with him. There'll be a few little bits. Good podcast.
Great podcast.
Nice beach.
Yeah,
we always got
beach,
to remember we got a beach.
Yeah.
That's important.
What do you think about the atmosphere? Paul asks about the atmosphere at home games. Ollie, I thought it was better than recent times, but I've always said that. Are we a bit of an entitled fan base? Have we sort of gorged on this Eddie Howe diet of exciting football, and now we're kind of realising actually most football teams are like this, and we're not really responding? People talk about Blake and Hughes riding Eddie's coattails, but are we as fans also? Because we almost expect the entertainment to come to us. I always reference when Leeds were 3-1 down and their fans created a raucous atmosphere and it helped pull the team over the line. They were like the 12th man, but really we rely on the team to provide some inspiration to the fan base. It was better, and that was a result of the team being better, and it was more unified. But the atmosphere, was it better on Saturday?
I think it was more. I think we had more patience. I think because we realised that we're going to have to be in here for the long run now because things aren't changing. A lot of people, especially after the Brentford game, put a lot of pressure, and obviously the Southampton game as well. I mean, you could look back at 4 or 5 moments in the last, before the World Cup, and obviously the 5 games now since, that you think people have gone, right, that's it, we've thrown the towel in, and then the club haven't, nothing's changed, and it seemingly now is that we're going to push on and try and rebuild with what we've got. So I think there was a much better atmosphere on the basis of, we're now maybe going to realise that we've got to get behind the team. And when we got relegated from the Premier League, the only time we've been relegated from the Premier League, but there were no fans.
Yeah.
So it was hard for us to actually give them that extra 12-man support.
Yeah.
So now we've got that opportunity. I think we're all starting to realise that, okay, it's not, like you say, the Eddie Howe sort of glorious football that we've seen. We've not got sort of wonder goals flying in every now and again. And, you look back at Eddie Howe's sort of time in the Premier League, so many, I remember, this is very random, but every single goal of the month, we'd always have a goal in it.
Yeah, we
there
would,
would always be something that you'd think, oh, brilliant that was. The Ritchie against Sunderland, the Adam Smith against Everton, and all those games where, like you say, we're losing or we're not getting somewhere, and then suddenly you think, oh, it's amazing, great football, we got a result. I think now it clicked, I think, the weekend, that the atmosphere is going to have to get better.
Yeah.
To help us. I do think that you mentioned the Leeds one there, which is bang on, but I've been to every away game this season, as have you, and all the home fans apart from Leeds, like us. It's just not. We're not on our own here.
No,
it's away. You're better, and away fans are better.
Yeah,
they always have been. It's just the way it is. So, but I do think in the more to today and kind of what's going on at the moment in terms of atmosphere, when Neil Blake comes out and says that the reception Gary O'Neill got helped him get the job. Fans are then going to go, so if we don't want him, we got to kick and scream about it, and they've done that. He hasn't changed, so as Ollie said, so now we've got they ain't going to change it, so we might as well be on the boys. But I actually think it was a lot of fans trying to make a point.
Yeah,
I honestly, we haven't sang the Gary O'Neill song since he got the job.
There's not a lot of unity, really.
I don't think we since he got the job.
No, we haven't won. We scored.
It feels like we're very much a distance from the team at the moment, and when we're together and when there's a siege mentality, we certainly get behind them. So, Paul, hope that's maybe answered your question. And Abby, you said the same thing. Is there anything that can be done to improve Tom? Tom would be on the megaphone leading the chants. That would be good. But yeah,
enough voice, unfortunately.
Hopefully, we've answered that question for you. Aaron K asks, even after 6 of the last 8 years spent in the Premier League, do you think some supporters and indeed the hierarchy cannot shake the small club mentality, i.e. the current managerial setup? Do you think that's the case, small club mentality?
I can get and obviously we've got new owners now, so it remains to be seen, but I can get why you would think that, because I think I said it on the last show, mate, since Eddie, obviously, we haven't really employed a manager that makes much sense apart from being an easy option, and we're kind of appointing managers like we ain't got a choice because we're little old Bournemouth. So I do get that.
We're trying to shake it off though by the names that we're obviously trying to attract, but not getting. Henri, Wagner, Bielsa, there are others.
I mean, don't get me wrong, we will always have. I mean, Arnie looks like it's going to be a prime example if he ends up signing for Everton. I don't know what's going on there because Lampard looks like he's got the sack, but he's proven that we've said we'll give you more money than Everton will give you. We've got a manager. Everton are not going to have one soon.
Do you think that's
and he still wants to go to Everton over us? That's a worry.
I mean, I don't want to be cynical, but you could say anything you wanted after a club's turned you down. You could say anything like, "Oh yeah, we offered him twice as much," but you're kind of saving your arse a little bit by saying, "Look, it was just a player." But
if you're Dan Juma and that wasn't the case, you'd say it wasn't the case, then wouldn't you? I would. If someone claimed that they were going to do it, I'd go, no, they didn't. But I don't know. I do think we probably tried, and that proves that there is always going to be. We're not as big as Everton. We never will be. But equally, I know Barcelona weren't a bad club for Neto to leave. He could have sat in Barcelona.
True.
And final to top the league, and Celesi was their main centre half. So we can attract these players.
The thing is, Dan Juma has been pushed out the Villarreal side, and despite having an unbelievable season last season, so like you said, he's going to come out surely and say what it was that made him move wherever he goes, because whether it's money or whatever, he's getting straight into the Everton team. He's getting straight into our team. So what is it?
Yeah.
I wonder why there was an explanation from the club about Dan Juma, but there wasn't about Bielsa, because it was clear that we were going for Bielsa.
Yeah, not sure.
I just wonder what the real reason was, but I think obviously that's quite a sensitive issue. And players, you always will be linked with players, therefore you can give these reasons. With managers, it doesn't happen so often. So I don't know, just interested to know, what the real story was. One day maybe that will come out when Marcelo Bielsa is our manager and we're playing this European football that Foley's promised us, because we're guarenteed not to go down.
After 4 or 5 signings, and we're confident of Dan Juma.
Yes. Orange FPL. Ollie, I'll put this one to you. Why aren't we making our signings now? rather than at the end of the window, because we've got 2 weeks now, haven't we, before the next game. It's imperative that we get them through the door. Otherwise, it's the Steve Cooper effect, but back then he's got loads of new players to try to embed, and then things are going to be shaken up a little bit and he might not have time to gel. Like, if we're going to do business, ideally, it should happen sooner rather than later, right?
Well, with the games coming up, ideally we should have been doing it right at the start of January, where we've got games that you can look at and go, right, yeah, we can get points in. We've got Nottingham Forest coming up, where it is a must-win game. You know, get 3 or 4 new players into that team, completely turns the game on its head from what we saw yesterday. Back in on Saturday. So, for me, it's like I think we have left it late, but we don't know the ins and outs of the clubs, whether we've gone for players and things have maybe changed, or agents have got involved. It's very complex now, compared to back in the day.
True.
Where you could just get a player.
I think more clubs will sign players later in the window. It's just the way it is. Everyone plays poker, don't they? You go, no, we want 10 million, we want 10 million, we want 10 million. Deadline day, okay, we'll take 7.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to play hardball, so you're always going to get them later. But obviously, in an ideal world, and I'm sure everyone at the club is doing the same, is you want them in earlier so they can get integrated, and like I say, with a week off, so to speak. I think this should be a busy week, because I think when's the Brighton? It's February, isn't it?
Yeah, February the 4th.
So it's done, isn't it, by the Brighton game? So yeah.
But at the same time with Foley, you don't want, like you say, clubs to be going, right, we'll give you 10 million for him, and we want 15 million really. 12, no, and then suddenly deadline day comes around and we go, right, 17 million, we need him.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you think,
panic.
We've maybe blown a budget that could have gone on this potentially new stadium that's gone out the window. Over
we done it last January.
And the new training ground,
We did do it last January, we panicked, but we got away with it. So I remember Rothwell, funnily enough, we were all in on Rothwell and they were not giving us him, and we would have to go back in the summer. So we went, Cantwell's available, and we got him. And we did do a bit of panicking last season because we want to make sure we're over
He's
the
joined
line,
Rangers, by the way, hasn't he?
Yeah, it looks like he's gone Rangers. Yeah, Cantwell, I don't know what's happened to him.
Based off of James Hill, he's probably going to be the next world-class player as well in that league. So.
Yeah, true.
Well, why, Terry asks, why has a Premier League team got 3 kids on the bench, especially when 3 squad players have left out on loan?
Because we've had to clear the squad to get bodies in, but then bodies aren't available yet, or we haven't got them over the line yet. We will get players in, because Ouattara hasn't even had to be registered. He's under 21, isn't he? So we've got 2 spots available from lower Marcondes, so they'll be replaced. They just haven't been done yet, and obviously injuries, and we're just filling the bench, aren't we? Basically, probably no more to it than that. They're never going to come on. It's just to fill the subs bench.
So we got about 5 minutes left or so. Does the performance on Saturday make you more bullish? Have you got a little bit more optimism, Ollie, or are you still maybe feeling a little bit pessimistic due to certain people being around? I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but those are the feelings of a lot of fans. I saw Robbie Sargent on Twitter tweeting this, saying, it was improved. However, because of the manager that we've got at the moment, he's not feeling overly optimistic. He'd probably feel more optimistic if we made some changes in that department.
Yeah, for me, we've got to take, and we mentioned Everton a lot in this podcast with Dan Juma and things, but we've got to take real sort of inspiration from them last year, where, Lampard, he's got more experience than Gary O'Neill, sure, but he came in and, really had not really the know-how behind him, and the board, the Everton board, arguably, is one of the worst we've seen probably ever in the top flight. But they pulled through, and I think here we're looking at it how Lampard was still here, and looks like he's on his way out now, but how he stayed there long term, when they needed to build up the table in the Premier League, was a mistake. But if we stay up with Gary O'Neill, Gary O'Neill's probably not going to be there next season. We're going to probably rebuild again if we can stay up. If we go down, like you say, maybe he's the man to take us back up again. But I think now I'm optimistic in the sense of we've got past the original barrier of everyone going against, or just giving up almost, and thinking, well, what's the answer? Do we go out and, hello, is that Bielsa on the phone again? It's unblock me, please. Unblock the number. You don't know who it's going to be, that comes in, and that was a question that people asked, didn't they?
Yeah.
If O'Neill goes, who comes in?
Right. I think the only you said about how do I feel now after the game. I think my only kind of thing is that there's a few bad teams. I don't think Southampton are that great. Wolves struggle to score goals,
but they've
Everton
both those
Rice.
sides have showed little seeds of.
Oh, trust me. If you're asking me honestly, I mean, you know me. I try. I always want to be positive.
We're going.
I'll be absolutely stunned if we stay. I think there's more chance of Scott Parker winning the Champions League with Club Brugge. I don't see. All I want is this to be clipped up and me be completely wrong, mate. But honestly, I would be absolutely shocked. Have you seen our fixtures as well?
Yeah.
I think slight improvement. That was we've. Played for. If you said our most winnable games, we've played Forest at home, we've played Southampton at home, we've played Everton at home, we've played Palace at home, we've played them all. We've got all the hard fixtures. I don't see in previous seasons with Eddie always thought we could a little surprise here and there. We're going to beat Chelsea. We don't do that because you saw how we set up at Chelsea. Chelsea haven't won a game in God knows how long, and we set up against them like, oh, it's Chelsea. I honestly, mate, I want to be more positive, but I've got to be honest, and there's no way, in my opinion, we stay up. So I'll be absolutely stunned.
So what positions do we need to look? I mean, look, if it's done. If it's pretty much done, what do the board do? Do they sign players to keep us up or players to get us up next season? Because there's a difference in there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you've got to have a crack because of the points, and as I said, some of the teams around us. You got to try and stay up.
I mean, there's quite a few teams in the mix.
Yeah. You got to go for it, and if they got all this money and blah blah blah, you got to go for it.
Maybe we'll beat Man City this time round.
No, we won't. I'm concerned with the way you look at some of these teams and Haaland and things. I'm concerned that we could get a slap in soon, and that
maybe
might.
Parker was right. We might see another 9.
We might. I think we might. Maybe not 9, but I think we might see something like that soon if we're not careful. But listen, I know what you're saying. I think we can maybe. The most positive thing is probably Jamal Lowe's a good championship player. If we go down, Sadie's looking alright, isn't he? Yeah. James Hill looks like he might be able to cope next season, so we should come back up.
And maybe get Gavin Kilkenny back as well.
Yeah, we'll have a few options.
Bring the team back together.
But I think it's the first time. I think we said this going into the Forest game. I thought Forest must win. We got to win. We got to see a performance. We got to see a lot more. Get some bodies through the door, and then you never know. I think not winning that Forest game for me with the fixtures coming up is going to. We're going to. I mean, you're talking Brighton away, Wolves away, Newcastle home, City home.
And that's the problem, isn't it? It's teams like Brighton.
We've got to go to Brighton and get some. Get
no, well, that's it. You know, there are teams like that are getting so much better, and we've been left behind, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, you look at these games and the games we're going to have to suddenly pull out results in, and you're telling me that improved performance against Forest looks like we can surprise people with results at Brighton or against Newcastle or no chance.
Yeah.
I'll be shocked. A lot of things need to change.
The lucky thing is we're not completely out of it. If we were
not
adrift, you look at it and now we are starting to look at, well, okay, who have we got to take us back up, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But we are only, there's only like 4 points between like bottom of the table and like 13th.
Yeah.
What we have to look at as well, though, is that we were at one point, I think, like 7th in the table, 6th in the table during a game that we ended up losing. But I think we were like 12th under Gary Neal when we had that unbeaten run, and I was like, this is amazing, And now we are really falling down the table.
We were at 14th one point on Saturday, weren't we?
When we scored, there was a decent spell. But as I said,
we beat Brighton and suddenly we're back up at
of course
13th again.
It's more what we're seeing on the pitch and the fixtures is the concern. I mean, I'm trying to think of a good fixture we have.
Come on, let's raise some spirits.
We've still got to play struggling Fulham at home.
Yeah,
struggling. We'll be worrying about Europe.
They are
season,
struggling.
So they are struggling. Struggling now. You know that Juventus got deducted 15 points.
Yeah.
If we got given them, we'd be with Fulham.
Yeah.
Struggling with Fulham. So if they gave us 15 points, we'd be competing with Fulham again.
If only that could happen.
Yeah.
Well, gents, it's been an absolute pleasure. Oh, we got a video coming out this week, our away day review, Brentford. Ollie, you went. Quick word on the experience there. Did you like it?
Not the game. Not the game.
Not the game.
The stadium was quite cool. The new ground ticked off, so it was good fun. I missed kick-off. I got there 3 hours before the game and missed kick-off.
As you do.
No, fair enough.
But no, it was apart from the football. And the temperature, it was good.
Yeah, well, you know what? On the YouTube channel later this week, myself and Tom are going to be going over that, and then we're going to be putting it in our tier list. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Let us know what you think in the comments and whether there's any questions you want us to tackle. We'll be back next week for another chat. Hopefully there'll be some new names through the door, but we'll see. Tom, it's been a Been a pleasure,
Has
as
it?
always. Yeah,
I'm not-
of course it has.
I'm normally Mr. Positive. I'll be interested to see what people think now because I'm not feeling it at the moment, which is a shame. And I'm actually weirdly thinking I'm glad we haven't got a game.
Well, if you're
So I
feeling
have
it,
felt like that for a long time.
if you're feeling negatively, then at least it's no surprise if the inevitable happens. So
Yeah,
just kind of
just
protecting ourselves.
Enjoy it and hopefully just attack teams, go for it, enjoy it. No expectation now, no pressure on the players. Hopefully, you never know.
You never know. Ollie, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it, mate.
Good fun. I enjoyed it. Get my yellow tie ready. Sit
Yeah.
back, watch the transfers come
Yeah.
in. Next time we play, we'll have a whole new squad.
Oh,
We'll be
believe
buzzing
in
after
you.
winning at the Alex, aren't we?
yeah, we will be. Look, whether you've been listening on the audio pod or you've been watching on YouTube, there's a thing you can do. Just give us a retweet or share it on social media, but also give us a like as well. We truly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, I don't know what you're doing. Make sure you press that red button and make sure it's not red anymore. Turn it grey, and we would truly appreciate your support. Thank you also to the Ko-fi members that kindly sponsor us every week. Your contributions help us to pay for these facilities, and we want to do bigger and better things on the channel. So if you can lend your support, details are coming up in about 10 seconds. Until the next video, up the cherries.
Up Cherries.
Back in the day! Back in the day!